Aaron, is the attorney going to be joining us? Is Elena going to be joining us? Okay.
He loves the field and is very happy with ours. He's doing well. I couldn't be more proud of him, so.
Good, well, you should be. That's good.
Of course, I shouldn't have been best. I already lost my $300.
I got my safety ones, right?
Deb, you're like me. I have those for my regular glasses. They clip on sunglasses.
Yeah, you can, I can switch my frames. See, these are just,
Oh, the frames are pretty
so
cool.
then I can get like proper holidays and.
Oh my God. It's awesome. It's funny. I used to make fun of my dad back in high school. Like, Dad, what about the clip-ons? Embarrassing. And then now that's me. But I don't have the clip-on version. It's magnetic, so you can't tell. But they're, yeah.
Well, I'm not allowed,
My
because I already
father
lost
like
my $350 sunglasses, so.
Oh, yikes.
Aaron, can we start and do the attorney's items a little later if it is needed?
Yeah, I think we're fine to start. We don't have minutes, right, or do we?
We do have minutes.
Well, let's just wait. We'll do.
I'm just gonna
what we
text
need
her.
for
You can approve the
vote.
written minutes at the end if you want.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
There's no- I don't know if you have to do it in order, but.
Okay. Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ashok Ramasubramanian, Chair of the Niskayuna's Water, Sewer, Engineering, and Environment Committee. It is my pleasure to call to order our March 2026 meeting. And I forgot what happens next. Okay, we have agenda items in front of us. We are going to go a little bit out of order because as we wait for the attorney to join us, and Chair recognizes Mr. Rickert, Mr. Walsh, and Mr. Steenberg. If you gentlemen would like to address the committee, please do so. There's a small wrinkle because you need to speak into this microphone in order to be picked up by the live stream.
Good morning, Brett Steenberg, Steenberg Consulting Engineering. Here to request information on the status of the reintroduction of the caustic soda into the water treatment facility that was eliminated back in somewhere around 1990s, 2000 to try to adjust the pH so that we can be rest assured that the corrosiveness of the water entering both the private infrastructure within the homes and private service lines, as well as the town's infrastructure, is balanced, and we don't continue to have issues with copper and corrosion within our homes. I just replaced 2 faucets last month. I know when Dan, Matt, myself, and my wife met after the October meeting. It was standing at the top of the stairs. We discussed, we knew what the problem was. We just needed to figure out the balance of how much caustic soda needed to be injected into the system to get that proper pH balance. And that was in the budget for this coming year. I haven't seen where there have been any plans submitted to Department of Health for that approval. We know that there's going to require Department of Health approval, and would be looking for any information on that.
Thank you, Mr. Steenberg. Like in the agenda item 7A is that update. So we hope to have some updates for you. Mr. Walsh.
Hi, Kevin Walsh on behalf of Ingersoll Place, Council Road. As you probably know, I delivered a letter to the town board the other night. I have nothing further to add. Just look forward to the town's formal response to that letter, and I appreciate everything you do.
Mr. Rickert.
Thanks. Good morning. I don't have any comment this morning for you.
Okay. Thank you. So moving on to Item 3, engineering, asset management software update.
Okay, asset management software update. We've been working, purchased the Lumen software. We've been working side by side with them, meeting on a weekly basis to get all of our assets in the water and sewer department into the system. And now that we've got it all in there, we've got how many assets? I know over 1,000 assets in there. Thousands at this point in the software. And we're, last week we started producing our workflows. And so when we do inspections, such as going through the water treatment plant or wastewater plant, we've got checklists of everything that we're looking at and an easy way to say, hey, this needs attention, set up a work order, so that things don't get forgotten and things get assigned to the, we're going through there, looking at it every day and making sure that we're not losing stuff. We've got so many balls up in the air that we're trying to keep juggling and sometimes some lower priority ones get dropped. And so it's a way to keep track of those lower ones so that we make sure that they get addressed. We're moving nicely with it. It's an intense software. It's not an easy lift learning this new software. And so appreciate Cameron taking a lead on it, and as well as the guys down at the water plant are doing a great job. Nick down there is doing a great job. The wastewater plant, we've got a lot of assets and a lot of workflows that we got to get through. And then the guys out on the crews. We got 3 very unique plants, the 2 plants and the garage, and just making it all work together and working with Lumen to be able to make it custom fit for us. And so we're moving forward. It's frustrating, and it takes a lot of time. However, we are making progress, and I think we turned a corner last week with it. So that's great.
A lot to have in there, so just a short time.
Yes, it was a huge lift at first, and getting it in the right formats. Cameron's been great at getting it in the right format to be able to import in there some programming. There's a lot of little things that can go wrong, and we've done a first very heavy lift on that one. Stormwater update. I don't see Clark here. I don't know, Ashok, if you have anything on that. Or Cameron?
I can briefly say something basic about that. This is a preventative step taken by the town. It involves the Mohawk Golf Club, one of the schools, and the firehouse. And we are doing this study so that the system doesn't get overwhelmed in a heavy rain event. And if it does get overwhelmed, it's a big problem. And like I said, it's a preventative procedure. And we'll move on to item 3C, opening for a senior civil engineering position. So when the previous supervisor of superintendent of the water department left, Daniel was promoted to that. Congratulations, Daniel.
Thank you.
So we are now hiring for a position to replace that. Replace that meaning replace Daniel's original position. The job ad has been posted on the website, and it's been posted on the awesome website called Indeed.
Indeed, we're getting it there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I just wanted to say that I'm happy to be part of the interview process.
Very good.
And help the department in any way. Okay, we'll move on to item 4, everybody's favorite topic, water main break report.
Water main
How
break
many did we
reports.
have?
We had a rough month in February with the freezing temperatures. It's been rough. We had 41 water main breaks last month. That gets us up to, or excuse me, we had 13. I was like, wow, yeah, I was skipping ahead to water meters change. 13 water main breaks. that still is a significant amount. And with the freezing temperatures, the frost gets into the ground, and as soon as that earth moves just a little bit, it can just disrupt the pipes enough to have a break. And so we had 13 water main breaks in February. We had a hiccup on the Valerie Drive pump station. That's a sanitary sewer pump station this month, where we control it through a SCADA system that runs through the radios, and for some reason during the night, one of the SCADA system went down. We've got battery backups. We don't necessarily think it was a power bump or anything. We didn't see any indications of that. However, the control system failed, and therefore it did not turn the pumps on when the high level was reached. And so we did have an overflow event over there at that pump station. We went through all the correct procedures to report it on the New York alert program, and we talked with DEC about it. And so we went through the right steps. When we found it, got the pumps turned back on, restarted everything. It's the similar thing when if your computer's not working right, turn it off, start it over, and it started working just fine as normal. And so we're still trying to figure out what gremlin was in there that caused it to fail. But we did go through the correct procedures to notify the state on that.
Okay, we'll move on to item 4B, tentative resolution appointing a maintenance worker.
We still have an open position at the garage with the crews. We get resumes occasionally. We've got it on the website. We're going to advertise a little more on that to try and get a few more applicants. The ones that we've seen haven't quite fit the mold of what we're looking for. I've got a few other additional items under 4, if I could discuss those.
Okay.
Regarding water meters changed. This is that 41. So we have been making a strong effort to get any water meters that have discontinued reading, whether it's the battery gone out or for some other reason, to get these swapped out. And so we were able to get 22 of those in January and 41 in February. And we're going to keep pushing forward on that to get all of the water meters changed that need to be replaced. The bills, the spring residential commercial bills, will be mailed on or about April 9th. The due date will be May 29th. Chris has just finished a report on the higher than normal usage. And so with the water meters, we're able to get feedback when there's an anomaly, such as a meter that's been reading significantly higher for a short we're tracking the previous billing cycles, and then all of a sudden we get a month that's a little bit higher. We get a notification, and then we go straight to the residents to let them know that, hey, there's something going on. We're not quite sure. Take a look at your plumbing. You might have a leak somewhere. And that's a service that our water department provides to the residents to be able to hopefully identify a problem sooner than later. Nobody wants to get a huge, multi-$1,000 water bill in the mail. And so, which occasionally that happens, unfortunately. We do our best to identify those situations when we can, and let the residents know to take a look at their system. Hydrant flushing is going to begin March 30th. So we do this biannually in the spring and in the fall, and we'll put the notice out in the Gazette with the dates and notifications sent out with that. That wraps up for item 4.
Okay. Since the town attorney has joined us, at this time, we are going to review the minutes for the February meeting. So I read the minutes. There are a couple of typos at the bottom of page 2. The word assets, it's misspelled. At the bottom of page 4, the word reconciliation is misspelled. But other than that, I don't have any corrections. Did anybody else have any issues with the meeting minutes? Then I move that the minutes be approved. Okay, all in favor of the meetings be approved?
Aye.
Okay, February meetings are approved, and we'll quickly visit item 2. Attorney's items. There are 4 resolutions. Do you have anything to add on those?
These were on as tentative last month. They should definitely be going on for this month.
Okay, they will be part of the town board packet this month. Okay, we will move on to utility billing. Item 5, section A, water and sewer rate study, discussion about new rates, billing structure, change to large meter accounts and compound meters. So as everyone knows, we are undertaking a rather large change with respect to our water rate structure. We are moving from a minimum usage paradigm to a readiness to serve paradigm. And those of us in water and sewer are very carefully looking at all the pieces before we actually roll it out to the public. And Kevin, thank you for bringing the dual meter issue to our attention. Another issue that has come up is, well, some customers are going to see an increase in water rates. So we are going through the process of making sure those customers are informed. And one of the things we found out that among those customers who's going to be seeing a water rate increase is apartment complexes, where typically they have a single line coming into the apartment complex, and then the apartment complex owner takes that bill and divides it equally to all residents. So we are working through that, and we are looking at all the things carefully. There are many aspects of the old system that are concerning to many residents, and so when we do roll out the new system, we want to make sure it gets done right. And Madam Supervisor, do you have anything to add?
So the resolutions that will be on for the end of the month are sort of a precursor because we have some town code that has to be cleaned up. I think what we'll end up doing, there's a lot of complicated language in there that doesn't really represent how we've done the billing even most recently. So I think the decision, there's a few other changes that need to be made just language wise for some other sections. We may as well do a public hearing on the entire, it's not super long. I want to say all 3 sections are, less than 10 pages. But I think the move is probably just to simplify what's there. So we've been looking at other towns in the area, what their code looks like. Theirs is much simpler than ours is. So we'll be making those adjustments so that the changes in structure are aligned with what we have in our town code. But the actual dollar amounts, they're going to be super similar to what they were before, but we want to make sure that any of these compound meter adjustments and any of the changes that might be made with meter sizes, there's at least 10 to 15 residential locations that show that they have large meters, which would put them in a much higher base rate category. We're sending people right to their homes just to make sure that they actually have that meter size. And then if they do they really need it? If they don't, can we, switch them out so that they're not paying such a high readiness to serve rate? So hopefully we'll have 3 different sections. It'll be water metering, It'll be sewer rents, and it will be some generic language that we had, as far as material changes on how we can put language in there that will enable us to get into homes that we know are having some issues with their meters that need to be addressed, some maintenance issues. There's some vague language in there now. We just want to tighten it up. When it was written, it wasn't, we weren't driving through and, kind of remotely pulling meter information. We were going in and reading it. So we just have to update it for how we're doing things today. So those are the resolutions that will be on there. It's not going to be anything that directly gives you the new rates. It will be just enabling us to make sure that the rates align with the code.
The water rates is obviously a big thing, right? So does anybody want to have comment on that? I'm happy to pass on the microphone. Okay, so we will move on to item 5, section E, utility bill adjustment for 2066 Orchard Park Drive. And Daniel, you want to touch this?
I can touch base on that. We very rarely do any utility bill adjustments. One instance that we would consider that is when we know that that the water definitely didn't go down the sewer. So typically the sewer bill is based off the same rate as the water bill, meaning that, the water that goes through the water meter, the same water that comes into your house goes out through your sewer. Irrigation, outdoor irrigation is one instance where that doesn't occur. And so that's why we've pushed for that second meter in some homes so that the residents can pay for the water that they do use in their house, and then separately pay for the water that goes onto their lawn, and that water doesn't go down the sanitary sewer. And so in this instance, there was a leak in their outdoor irrigation system that used a bit of water, and they're not asking for forgiveness for the water that they did use. It's for the water that did not go down the sanitary sewer, which makes sense. And so that's what this one's for. City of Schenectady water and sewer bills. Some portions of our town receive water and sewer services from the city of Schenectady. The Old Niskayuna area all flows through Sewer District 1 and down to the city. And so the way the bills work on that is, as residents of Niskayuna, we own the sanitary sewers that the flows go into, and then it gets to the city line, and then the city takes it from there. And so the town collects the water and sewer bills through the town, and then the city sends the town a bill, the larger bill for the whole for the large group of users, and that's the way that works. And so we send the bill to the residents, and then the city sends us a bill, and we pass on that bill. So annually we take care of this, and we've just received and have processed that the bill to the city.
Okay, I will move on to G. Ingersoll Place utility billing. And Kevin, thank you for being here. One of the hardest parts of my job is to say no to resident requests. We do thank you for bringing this issue to our attention, and I do want to assure you that we did our due diligence in terms of looking really deep and really carefully at this issue. So the application of the minimum usage fee for each meter within a dual meter, we feel it's a feature of the old system, a feature and not a mistake. And we understand that these and other resident frustrations exist with the water billing. And that's why we are doing a complete and very careful overhaul of the entire system. This meeting is being recorded, and I'm willing to go on record and say, we too disagree with the structure, which is why we are changing it. Unfortunately, disagreeing with the structure isn't a valid legal reason to refund one of many accounts billed the same way. That's our conclusion, and it was not reached hastily. Me and the supervisor did a lot of work, and I have a complete spreadsheet that I developed just for Ingersoll, and I ran through various scenarios like if this happened, what would happen, what the bills, and that's where we land.
Yeah, as always, respectfully, as you know that, having been over here for 26 and a half years, as you know. Yeah, I mean, it's an unfortunate mistake, but I truly believe that it is a mistake. I mean, the key word is usage, whereas before it was a minimum charge. And so usage to me is very simple, what goes in and what goes out 1 meter. And if you look at the specifications for the meter, if you ask any AI how you read that meter, they'll tell you to take the 2 readings and together for the total usage. And then you would apply the minimum usage charge. And that's the letter I wrote. And that's the numbers that I calculated to come up with the, I think it comes out in your spreadsheet. I don't know if it validated my numbers or not, but it's like $535 or somewhere in there every billing period overcharge as a result of that. I call it a misunderstanding when they went to the current rate structure. They just, missed it. That's the bottom line. So, we're not for profit. So, I have a responsibility to a budget responsibility over there. So it's important to me. And I do have a board meeting this week. So I will bring it back to the board. I respectfully disagree. And I'm only looking out for the Ingersoll, whatever happens, whatever accounts, that's between you and the other accounts, but I'm only looking at Ingersoll. And, that's money that we could use. So, I'll take up the board and, ask the board what the next action should be. And I'll leave it up to the board. I'm just one vote. Okay.
Perhaps you can also convey our thanks to the board and then emphasize that we are working hard. This is not going to be a permanent issue on your books when the new rate structure comes into place. The problem, it is a problem. We acknowledge it for the residential community, and it has an end date.
Yep. What's interesting, like I said at the last Water, Sewer Engineering and Environmental Committee meeting, is that I forgot what I was going to say, but bottom line is, it was a mistake. It's unfortunate. But I was surprised when I ran the numbers. And again, the only reason I went over to run the numbers is because of the new proposed rate structure. Most people just accounts payable, whoever gets the bill, they get the bill and they just pay. And that's what happened in Ingersoll until I said, geez, let's take a look at the bills and see how much more it's going to cost us for the new rate structure. When in fact, when I did the numbers, it was actually less for the new rate structure because of the error. So if you correct the readings for the $500 and something per billing period, then you run the rate structure. It's actually more, as the intent would be as a high volume user, So yeah, it's a boo-boo. I mean, that's the bottom line. So I'll take it back to the board. Thank you for talking about it, and I'll see what my direction is from the board. Okay. Thank you.
Just to clarify, so there are plans to correct this,
Mr.
restructure
Rickard,
this, or-
the live stream won't pick
Sorry,
up on-
just to clarify, there are plans to restructure this and correct this, or the system will stay in place?
I think it's probably helpful just to go over what the scenarios are and why it only affects, I want to say, how many compound meters are there? I think there's like 15
Yeah,
or something in
14,
town.
I thought.
Yeah, there's not so many, which is why it's somewhat of an unusual circumstance and why we had to dig in a little bit deeper. But essentially, the compound meters are triggered at high flow rates and low flow rates, and a minimum charge is issued for whether it hits let's say you had a compound meter and it sat at that, low rate the entire time for whatever reason, maybe the building's vacant or something. You would only be triggering that minimum usage charge for the low flow, which is a smaller meter size. The minute you use the higher flow, it triggers two minimum charges for the same meter. What we wanted to find out was whether or not that was charged consistently, because the only legal mechanism we have for going back and fixing an error is if it was a one-off mistake that we, happened to charge one account for 2 minimum charges for 1 meter, but we were consistently charging the 2 minimum charges for all of the compound meters. Again, as we're saying, we disagree with the logic, but it was applied uniformly. And so we can't necessarily call it a mistake when they were conscious of how it was being billed out. That's what we were sort of picking apart. We would have had some flexibility to kind of go in and say, oh, did we really mean to have it applied this way? Again, we don't think it should be that way, but whoever was here before and applied it. And again, this is a very small subset of meters. So that's probably why it hasn't been a topic before and why we're grateful that you brought it to our attention. Because when we went in to look at meter sizes, obviously that's the new structure. It's going to be really impactful if they have 2 readiness to serve rates. So we want to make sure that we're grabbing one of those rates. And again, the accounts that do have the compound meters, do they need them any longer? Some of them are buildings that have different uses over the years and they don't necessarily need a compound meter. So it's somewhat of an unusual thing, but when we look at, and we've picked apart the case law because we have been trying to do things retroactively to help some of our small businesses as well. It's really unclear, but the one piece that is clear is that it has to be a mistake in order to go back and make a bill adjustment, if that makes sense. So there's case law. I can't remember if it's case law or if it's a state comptroller opinion that exists, but if it's uniformly applied to all of the accounts, we can't really call it a mistake. It was just not something anybody at this table would agree with. So we're fixing it. It's sort of annoying because we have this like 6-month post billing, so it's not going to kick in when we would hope that it would, but it's just an unusual situation.
Yeah, thank you. The only thing, like you say, it's a mistake, but it's a mistake, looks like for 14 meters. So not just for the Ingersoll. So technically it's still a mistake. Again, nobody's fault. It was an oversight of understanding how the compound meters work would be my thought here. But again, the key word here is minimum usage charge, not minimum charge. The minimum charge per meter, I'd say you're correct, but it's a minimum usage charge. I think that's where it all falls apart.
I think we checked though, and it was used at both flows for Ingersoll, which is where it triggers.
No, the way the meter works is that when it's a high flow, the turbine in there closes off the disk reading.
Right.
And if it's only a sink running, but it's all 1 meter, it's called a compound meter. If it only had 1 RF output, so that when the town would only read 1 output, then it'd only be 1 minimum usage charge. The confusion came because there's 2 outputs and it's viewed probably by accounts payable or somebody has 2 meters, when in fact it's 1 compound meter. And again, ask Alexa, she'll tell you how to read it. Seriously.
Thank you all for participating in this. Mr. Walsh, there is like one small corollary to all of this. Like, I have the bills you shared with me in front of me, and I'm not going to read off numbers on camera, but your bigger bill, the much bigger amount, is actually through the smaller meter. So yes, we did check that. Yeah, it's actually through either the 5/8 or the 3/4. Like, I don't know. Yeah. So one thing that you could perhaps take to your board is, do we really need the other 3-inch? Because in the readiness to serve RTS paradigm, the difference between the 3-inch and the 5/8 inch is substantial. So if you can get away with just a 5/8 inch, that's something for the board to consider. Or even go to a 3/4. So
Yeah, I believe it's a 3-inch cast iron or line coming in. So you'd have to do some replumbing to go to say 2 3/4 inch valves or 2 5/8 inch valves and to be able to keep the flow up. But yeah, I couldn't correlate from either on the website or from the bill which meter was which. I don't know if there's a code on it that tells you what the RF output is not. So I was assuming that it was a larger meter.
I just asked our billing person to
Yeah.
to look it up.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So the 1.1 million gallons last time was on the smaller meter, not on the larger meter.
Yes. So, and again, I want to say that like when I said that like we really dug deep into it, like I hope, even though we disagree on the billing point, I hope you can understand that like we want to be your partners and we want you to save funds moving forward.
Yep. But the engineer in me is telling me it don't work. Oh, you know that, and we're all engineers here at least, so we all know that. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, we will. Okay, chair recognizes my wife and the cookie box, which I baked for this group last night, and I forgot to bring it. If you want to take one, it's cardamom coffee cake, homemade with organic whole wheat flour, free trade cane sugar, Kerrygold organic butter. So, all right. Okay. Wastewater treatment plant, fast becoming one of my favorite places. Daniel and I have an appointment to get in repair mode with the biogas generator on Thursday. But Daniel, please go ahead.
Well, thank you for the beautiful prelude into the wastewater plant with the coffee cake. The organic waste program update, we continue to bring in trucks from Chobani. Right now, about 13 trucks a week is what we're bringing in. And yes, there's a little more sludge that gets produced with that we're bringing in. This past at the end of December, we used to haul our sludge to Albany City's landfill, and they're no longer receiving municipal sludge, and so we're going to Colony right now. The rate is a little bit more than what we've been paying, and it's about 30% more. So it's a significant amount. So right now we're hauling about 1 container a day. So about 5 containers a week, 4 or 5 containers a week of sludge.
Keep doing it, like they're going to stick with Colony anyway.
That's right now. That's yes. They have some restrictions on water content of the sludge, and so just off of the belt press alone is borderline, and so so we're working with them to make to be able to make sure that we can keep hauling there and keep them happy. And so if we look at our annual budget for sludge, we're burning through it pretty fast. And it doesn't help with the frozen weather that we've got 1 sludge container that's frozen solid that we can't get unloaded. And so we're running off of 1 container right now, and we're working, but we need some warm weather to thaw that out so we can get back into 2, which gives us a little more flexibility with the sewer crew that's doing the hauling for us. February was a rough month, just with the frozen temperatures, equipment going down, different struggles. One piece of equipment that did go down is the dissolved oxygen probe that's in one of our aeration basins. And when that went down, the system runs, automatic loops through the SCADA system to compensate with the air blowers going to the 3 other aeration basins, and that system kind of got thrown off with the error reading in the one basin, and so with that, as well as the UV system. We did violate on fecal coliforms leaving the plant this month. We reported it to DEC as required by law, and following all the appropriate steps. And so we've been working with them on that. Yes, so we received the sensor, we put it in, the system's back up and going. It takes, we've been watching, we can monitor in real time and we can see what the sensor's reading, and everything's back to normal. However, with the amount of water and the amount of flows that go through it, it takes time for the system to balance itself back out. And so we're seeing the numbers trend in the right directions. And we're making every effort to get that back in check. We've gone through the UV system, done some repairs on that. We've got it on full blast right now to meet that fecal. There was a few complaints about some odor in the area, and we looked into that. And one thing that we identified was the flare had been tripping out a little bit, and so that's what flares off the gas from the digesters. And so we've made the repairs on that, and that's running again just fine. And so that should help out with any of the odors that we had some complaints on. The boiler in the digesters right now is running off of biogas, and so basically free gas that we're already producing at the plant. That's looking great. A few items, we do have a few positions that are open down there. One, the mechanic position that we're filling right now. We're working with the union as the gentleman that we're working with can start part-time at this point. The intention is to move to full-time when he's able to, working with the union to figure out a way to make that fit, which may involve an MOU to allow that. So we're working with the union to get some language that they're comfortable with. This is starting as a plant trainee is the position on that. And then once he's able to receive a CDL, he can move into the mechanic position. That's the intention. We do have another position that is open for plant trainee. And if we've got a successful candidate, we'll have a resolution for that. So that's tentative. One resolution, item D, is the purchase of the HVAC air handler control. This is in the solids handling building with the belt press. The heater went out. It doesn't help with the weather. And when that goes out, pipes freeze inside that building. And so we're looking to make some improvements to have better control over that air handler, and we know when it's going to go out so that we can get it repaired quickly and that it can shut down. What happens is there's a heating unit in it, and when that goes out, there's also a blower fan that blows in, that brings in outside air. When the heater unit goes out, it blows outside air into the building and freezes everything without shutting down properly. And so I've been working with Train on getting that. Getting a quote for that. And they are on the state contract. And so I'll work with you on procurement on that.
So can we move on to item 7?
One last update is we've brought in a gentleman from Texas to work on the sludge dryer. He was here Friday and going through the sludge dryer, getting some repairs done on that. And happy to report that the sludge dryer was running yesterday.
Ooh,
and
that is great news.
That will
because it hasn't been running for a while.
It's been out for quite a while, just getting the right parts and everything to get it repaired. And so that is
and
up
this
and running.
reduces our hauling costs, right?
Yes, significantly. Instead of hauling, 4 or 5 times a week, we can get by with once or twice a week. so significantly. And additionally, we've got a technician there this morning that is starting it on our biogas. And so normally it runs on our natural gas from National Grid. They're starting it on biogas. And so we've got a good supply of biogas and ready to get used. And so that will help out significantly in that that line item for hauling sludge.
How's it looking? Is it an easy fix because it's in here, or is it going to be more complicated?
We're up and going. I mean,
Everything is good to go, or
it's running. Yeah, we're going. Yeah.
I've
It's
been trying to get him to go.
we have been taking, it's taken a while. He had to fabricate some parts. He runs a machine shop down there in Texas. His dad actually invented the machine, the sludge dryer, and he's kind of taken over the shop there. And there are only about 50 of these manufactured in the United States. And less than that, they're actually still running. And so this is the guy that knows the machine inside and out. And so it's up and running. It's an expensive machine. I think it was $2 million, maybe when we purchased it, 15, 20 years ago. And so, but if we can keep it going, it can save us significant costs. And so we're up and going again. And the goal is to keep it running.
Okay, so corrosion control study update.
Okay. So we finished the first set of coupons at the water treatment plant. That was that test area where we did some pH balancing through one set. Finished that up around the end of December. And once we pulled those, we moved the system over to the JP pump station. That's the joint pump station that's over on Balltown Road and Van Antwerp, that corner. Yeah, that corner. So that's the pump station there, right across from the CVS. And what that pump station does is that brings in, we get half our water from the city. We produce half at our well field down on Lock 7 Road, and the other half we bring in from the city of Schenectady. And so we've got a fully blended system. And so we've moved.
Daniel, quick point of clarification. Blended system means everybody's water is mixed from both sources.
So from both sources, there are some areas that are strictly fed by the city of Schenectady.
Okay. Is that Old Niskayuna?
No, up by State Street.
Okay.
There's an area up there. It's mostly pressure related.
Okay.
It's a lower pressure area. Tourists drive up behind Mohawk Commons,
Okay.
in that area, and then there's also an area over by Ravine Road
Okay.
that receives the water solely from the city. Everything else essentially is blended. We pump the water from our plant that goes directly up to our water towers. The joint pump station and the Water District 3 pump stations take city water and pump it directly up to our towers. Water is blended there in the towers and is sent out, distributed through the distribution system. There are areas that we don't have a water model that would identify exactly where areas are that are solely fed by our well field. It can be inferred that the areas such as down by the water plant would be fed by the well field as the water's passing on up and going to the tanks. However, there's times of the year that we're taking 100% of our water from the city to be able to take our full allotment of under the contract. And so we're required to take a minimum amount from the city. And so there are times that 100% of the water in the town is coming from the city. So the copper coupon apparatus is up at the joint pump station right now. And we're planning on pulling the first set of coupons from that on March 15th. And so we'll get an idea of the weight of those coupons. And that's solely water from the city. Our water comes from the same aquifer as the city's water. The water chemistry is very similar. Water quality is very similar. We essentially have a married system with the city. We work together with their system. They produce a lot more water, on the order of 10 times as much as we produce. And so we work together with them. As far as any history of the corrosion control studies in the past, I was not here 20 years ago. We used to have caustic soda down at our water plant, and then approximately 20 years ago, we discontinued using caustic soda and changed over to a polyorthophosphate for corrosion control. And this is very common throughout the area. Pretty much every municipality uses some sort of phosphate for corrosion control. It's very standard throughout the industry. And so at some point, approximately 20 years ago, the decision was made to change from caustic to orthopolyphosphate. The city had a corrosion control study done, and to my best estimation and what was standard practice is to piggyback off of each other's studies. And so they do the big study, and then we use very similar water. We probably piggybacked off of it as best as I can tell. 20 years ago. Yeah. And that was probably the decision made. It was worked through with the Department of Health, and back then it was probably standard practice from the best that I can tell.
And that helps a lot with the lead, right? The phosphate.
Yes, that's exactly what it's for. That's exactly what it's for. What that orthopolyphosphate does,
Forms the inner lining.
it bonds with the metals in the pipe and creates a thin little film on the inside of the pipes. And so when water goes through that, it doesn't actually touch the metal anymore, and it doesn't pick up any of the metals from that. And so that's the purpose of that polyorthophosphate. And so that's what we've continued to use throughout the system since then. We use the exact same product that the city uses, just to keep so we don't have any issues with chemistry or any blending issues, since we have such similar water and it all blends in the tank anyway.
Do you know if we go to the caustic soda, if we would keep the polyphosphate as well?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we would be doing
Yep.
And does it matter, like, what type of metal it is? Does it adhere to lead, to galvanized steel, to copper, to everything? Even
That's I don't know that much about it, but what they do is the suppliers will do test samples with different, call it a jar testing, where it will allow different blends and see which works out the most effective, and that's how they determine which one's the best one for the system, the recommendation.
So what exactly happens on March 15th when the new coupons are? Do we test it ourselves,
No.
or do we send it to a lab?
No, it's taken to a lab. So imagine just a thin little piece of metal, about the size of your eyeglasses here. That it's right now. It's in a little a pipe where water flows through to waste. The metal's pulled out, and taken directly to a laboratory to be weighed. They're determining, they've taken a weight before we started of the piece of metal, and then run it in the system for a while, and then take it off and weigh it again and determine how much weight is lost, meaning that weight corroded away. metal is corroded away. And so that's the process. And so March 15th is when they'll pull it out, and it'll take them a little bit of time, a week or two, to get the weight of it and everything through the laboratory.
So regarding the decision to add caustic soda or not to a subset or possibly the whole of Niskayuna's water supply, what is the thought process, decision process behind that?
The process would be to finish these tests, and then our engineer would prepare a summary report and recommendation report.
Our engineer meaning?
Right now, it is MJ
Okay.
Engineering is
Good.
who's doing the study for us. Prepare that report, and we'd send it into the Department of Health.
Is it state or county?
We always go through the county Department of Health, and then they coordinate with the state.
Gotcha.
And so we don't typically work directly with the state. Everything goes through the county. And so with our recommendation, they'd have some plans that need to be approved by the Department of Health, and that usually takes a little bit of time for their engineering department to review the plans. Once the plans are approved, we can put a contract together. Our engineer would put a contract together to bid it out to contractors to actually construct.
Gotcha. Mr. Steenberg, any follow-up questions?
I mean, to answer your question, it doesn't bond with copper. And that's one of the real issues, polyorthophosphate, that they're finding, that it has no effect on copper lines. It has a moderate bonding to ductile iron, but they're finding, depending on your use of chlorine, sometimes it can wash away that lining. And there is a theory right now that there was a large slug of chlorine when they turned the plant back on in February of 2024 that may have washed a lot of the linings away. I did hear, and I don't know if it's true because I haven't got confirmation, that Department of Health is starting to shy away from the use of polyorthophosphate. I believe we use a 70-30 blend, 70% polyphosphate, 30% orthophosphate. Ortho tends to be the one that bonds with the inside of the pipe. So we're using a lesser blend of that. The polyphosphate is what tends to help with scaling. And the iron falling out, where you get the brown staining and stuff when your iron starts to, but that's in the research that I've done. That's what we're finding. I thought I'd be able to help answer your question on that.
And, when we shut down our plant occasionally down there on Lock 7 Road, about a month ago, we had an issue over the weekend where one of the valves was leaking. We had to shut it down for the weekend. When we start that back up, we closely monitor all the levels, all the chemistry levels. We have a hydrant that we open up. So before any water actually goes out into the system, we are carefully monitoring all of the levels in that. And so that, and it won't go into the system. We don't open that valve until all the water meets all the correct parameters.
Okay, lead service line notifications update. I actually had a comment on this. Like, I think it'll be helpful if we developed an FAQ and attached it to those letters, because I'm fielding some, I don't want to say panicked, let's say concerned calls from residents saying, I just got notification that my home may have lead in it. Like, what's my kid has been drinking it for so many years. At the end of the day, this is federal mandate, and then we are following it to the best of our abilities. But it would help if we have an FAQ, like, while the town cannot say for certain that there is zero probability that there is lead in your house, like, here's what you should know. We just talked about the polyorthophosphate, and then the other question is, like, I don't even know what's inside my house. Like, how do you guys know what my pipes are made out of? So Daniel, if you don't mind, I will start making an FAQ document that you and the supervisor.
I was just going to say, I feel like maybe we should loop in at the next water meeting. Let's see if maybe we could get the county to pay for a mailer, because if they it's every municipality that's
Mm-hmm.
doing this. So I feel like if we could get them to pay for the postage, then, you know, that might help us out. We could still put one into our billing,
Yeah.
but I think we only have until April, when did we say, April 9th? So we want to make sure that's, if we're going to put something into the utility bills, we got to get that going. But I
That
say
is
you
a
ask,
December bill, yeah.
we should totally ask. I mean,
So
because this is I feel like we
So,
pretend it's just us, but it's everywhere.
so yeah, the EPA requirement requires that we notify any resident if they have a lead service, a known lead service, a known galvanized service, or an unknown service. If it's unknown, we're required to notify the residents that it is unknown. And so that's what we're talking about, these notifications that we're required to send out every year. We're working towards getting those on the water bill that goes out anyway. And just some notes that are on it that says your water service is unknown. And so that's where we're looking to get through this year. Last year, it was a little bit of we're trying to just get it out the door in December. And so that's why we mailed them out, but we're working towards getting that. We've got a good inventory. We're working through each of those and keeping it updated on water service that get changed to stay on top of it.
Okay.
I've got a few other items on the water. Is that all right?
Okay. Maybe we try to move quickly.
Yep. So a few other items on the water plant is let's see. First of all, with the EPA lead and copper rule, they requested some additional information from us, and we've been able to process all that and get it sent. We're about ready to get that sent off to them, and just collecting that right now. And so we're good to go on that. We've got wells down there that we're seeing the rate that we're taking out of, that we're able to pull out of them is diminishing, which means that it's about time to redevelop the wells. And what that means is over time, the well screen slowly gets plugged with whether it's inorganic material like sands or clay or small particles or crusty buildup or even biological material. And so what a redevelopment means is a contractor comes in and he basically does a power wash of it. Gets down there, sucks the water up, drops it back down, and just agitates it just like a washing machine. And then pumps out the waste. And so we're seeing that this needs to get done about every 5 years. The last time we did it was about 5 years ago. And so we're looking to put that, get that project put together. We planned on doing that. And so we'll be getting the contract documents together for that. Security, with Iran, we were just notified by the Department of Health to take a look at your cybersecurity systems. Everything is under attack right now. And we've got a quote from our SCADA contractor for regular updates, basically a service contract. I need, under procurement, I need permission from the supervisor or approval from the supervisor. It's a small enough amount. It does not need a resolution, but it needs approval of the supervisor. And so I'll send that over to you. Deb's going to print that off and have you sign that. And we'll be good to go on that. And just to keep everything up to date there at the water plant, secured and safe. We've already started the 2026 lead and copper sampling for the year as a part of the lead and copper rule. And we just received back our first round of samples. And so yesterday we received the results of the first 31 samples of tier 1 residences or connections to the system. And of those 31 samples, all 31 of them were under the action level for both lead and copper.
Were these randomly chosen, Daniel, or is it a specific geographic location?
They represent the town geographically throughout the areas of the town The requirements to be a tier 1 site is it has to have a known lead, or it has to have a known copper, internal copper plumbing that was installed between 1983 and 1986 that has lead solder.
Gotcha. Thank you. Okay, we will move on to environmental, and I have a note here that Cameron has a few topics. If they are not urgent, we can talk. Okay, then we can move on. But because I do want to discuss the open space grant opportunity very briefly with everyone present here. So I'm working with Sarah Belovsky to write a little like a little press release asking willing landowners if they would sell the land or any portion of their land to the town. So I wanted to know if we can do an email blast if something is written up.
Sounds like an amazing thing for us to use our new app for,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
We can do both.
Okay.
Let's do both.
Okay. So Sarah's helping me with the language, and like I said, this is an open space grant opportunity. If a landowner has open space, perhaps completely unbuildable, undevelopable open space, then the DEC has a grant wherein the town can purchase that land for market value. So it's a good opportunity for land conservation. It's a good opportunity to fairly compensate landowners. So just want to put it out there. If anybody knows people sitting on land that they wish to sell, like, this is a really good opportunity. And I keep talking about land conservation because I am part of the comprehensive planning committee, and last year we did a survey asking residents what was foremost important to them as far as Niskayuna is concerned going forward. The number one topic was green space preservation. So the residents want to see existing green space preserved. And Kelly and Aaron, let's talk offline about the language for an email blast. Also happy to report we have submitted our first water and sewer infrastructure grant application. This is through Phil's Tech's office. It went in about 2 weeks ago or something like that. Obviously, they have said there's no guarantees or anything like that, but wasn't it a famous hockey player who said you miss 100% of shots you do not take? So that's out there, and I've been looking at a few more, hoping to apply a few more in the coming months as well. And
Did you want to? This is also from Sarah regarding the RIC, RIC.
yes,
You know
so
that?
yes. So we are going to be introducing this thing called RIC, which is Councilwoman Belovsky's idea, and I think it's a really good idea. Remind, inform, celebrate. So we end the meetings with this. So remind. So what would you want to remind the public? Daniel, you mentioned hydrant flushing.
Hydrant flushing, snow removal around hydrants. That's something that's easy that residents should be taking care of. That takes we'll send our guys out there too. An easy one to take care of, flushing wipes down the drain. Those still give us a headache. We spend thousands and thousands of dollars dealing with wipes that get flushed down the toilet.
Okay.
Little things here and there we always
Okay.
come up with.
As things start to melt, check your storm sewers. If they need to be cleaned, reach out to highway.
Okay, as things starts to melt, check your storm sewers, and if they need to be cleaned, reach out to highway. And let's end with celebrate. 3 weeks ago, Daniel took me. So I always come to town hall Thursday afternoons. I call it my office hours. So around 3 to 5. And Daniel said, "Oh, Ashok, I've been waiting for a water main break to happen Thursday afternoon." And so one Thursday it coincided, and then we went to the site, and I was very impressed by the hard work put forth by our crews. They're out there making sure that people's water is always online. They're working through the night, in the winter, in the cold and freezing, which is extremely hard thing. And I was impressed by their professionalism, skill, and that is something to celebrate. And we do Deb forwards phone calls and emails that we get from residents expressing their happiness and satisfaction that these repairs are getting done. On that note, I will end this meeting. Wait, do we need motion or anything like that? I make the motion to end the meeting. All in favor, yes. And the March meeting is adjourned. Next meeting, April 7th, 2026. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Yep.